I saw this sex difference. I saw that my male patients were doing a lot better on keto. They were becoming metabolically flexible, and the women were really struggling.
Let's come back to the Gottfried Protocol. While we have a little bit of time here towards the end of our interview, what is it? Who is it designed for? And can you walk us through what are the key pillars that are part of it?
The key pillars start first with detoxification. So I want to talk, maybe I'll give an overview and then we'll circle back to why I designed it in this particular sequence. So step one is detoxification, opening up your detox pathways. That includes methylation, it includes cruciferous vegetables, it includes paying attention to antioxidants. The second part is the ketogenic diet. So really following a ketogenic diet in a particular way, using net carbs. So I was told when I first started on keto not to use net carbs, but I think we have to, especially for women. And then the third part is to layer in intermittent fasting, but to do it in a particular way that doesn't cause hormone imbalances like disrupted cortisol. So if I take a step back now, what I found, Dhru, was that about 7 or so years ago, I suddenly had all of these patients who came to me who were struggling with the ketogenic diet. So they were early adopters, they were following different thought leaders, they were trying keto, they were doing the macronutrients, they were eating the fat bombs and the bacon, and they just weren't getting the results that they were hoping for. Often they would do keto with a colleague from work, like a male colleague, and the male colleague would get all the benefits, and they were struggling. These were mostly women. So I saw this sex difference. I saw that my male patients were doing a lot better on keto. They were becoming metabolically flexible, and the women were really struggling. And I called them my keto refugees because they were so frustrated and they felt like, I'm doing everything right. What is wrong? Why is this not happening? So as I was struggling on my own with the ketogenic diet, I realized one of the first pieces that's so important for women is to make sure that those detox pathways are open. So I see a lot of women who struggle with constipation, who are not pooping every single morning with that feeling of utter relief, like you have evacuated completely and you are ready to start your day. So we need that in place before you can really be successful on a ketogenic diet. You have to be eliminating. That is priority number one when it comes to many of these metabolic hormones, especially the estrogens, because the gut is so involved in estrogen balance, especially estradiol. So detox, getting that dialed in is so essential that I put it first. And also getting the vegetables that you need, the allium vegetables that raise glutathione, the dark green leafies that help you with the B vitamins, that help you with methylation. Really important to have that in place. Then the ketogenic diet itself, again, I said before that I use net carbs because I find that women who restrict total carbs too much often end up having menstrual irregularity. We see that in up to 45% of people on classic keto. They often have thyroid issues because reverse T3 can be raised by restricting carbohydrates excessively. And I also see that they have issues with cortisol, so too much food stress. So if you adapt the ketogenic diet, you focus on net carbs. I have people begin with 20 to 25 net carbs each day. I find that that is so much better in terms of keeping the gut component of the control system for your hormones really working. And then I like to layer in intermittent fasting. And the evidence right now, there's a lot of different people giving conflicting information about intermittent fasting. My review of the literature is that 14 hours is probably the right number in terms of an overnight fast for women. That's not associated with too much cortisol or other hormone disruption. So this comes from UCSD, the work of Barbara Patterson. She's done some work looking at breast cancer risk and a few other hormonal factors. And I think 14 hours is probably the best way to go. And I recommend that people kind of ramp up slowly to intermittent fasting. I like to combine it with the well-formulated ketogenic diet because it's a backdoor to ketosis. So most people can get into ketosis after some period of an overnight fast, typically 14 to 18 hours. So that's basically the protocol. And then when you come off the protocol, it's really important, almost like an elimination diet, to very gradually add those net carbs back in. So 5 grams of net carbs per day is what I recommend, where you're tracking metabolic flexibility. So you're looking at glucose, you're looking at your weight, you're looking at inflammatory fluid. You're also looking, if you want to test a little further, you're looking at glucose ketone index. So that's a quick overview of the 4-week protocol.
That's great. And what are some signs, especially for somebody who comes from this background of, pretty major hormonal imbalances? What are some of the leading indicators that they should notice during the program and especially afterwards that they're headed in the right direction? What should they pay attention to?
Well, the first reaction is satiety, which is a very lovely reaction where you just don't feel as hungry. If I take a step back, if you look at the literature on glucose and insulin, probably the most proven diet is a whole foods diet with no animal protein or fat. So this is very well proven to help with glucose control. My problem is when I eat that way, I actually gain weight. So it doesn't work for me personally. And so I have to find a way to eat clean, but to follow a ketogenic diet. The main issue when I eat a whole foods, plant-based, 100% plant-based diet is that I'm hungry. I'm really hungry. And so I end up eating excessive calories. So for me, the satiety that you get from producing ketones as a result of burning fat really helps me with creating that metabolic flexibility that I'm after. And of course, it's not about me, it's about other people when they follow a low carbohydrate, high fat food plan, moderate protein, they have this feeling of satiety that comes from the ketones that are produced, mostly beta hydroxybutyrate. So that's one example, the feeling of being satisfied, not being hungry. I haven't eaten yet today because my ketones are relatively high. I cycle in and out of ketosis kind of as needed. Another benefit is there should be some weight loss. So, especially for people who are overweight or obese, we expect as you start to burn more fat, we expect that you're going to have some fat loss. So, technically, it's fat loss. I don't want people to lose muscle, I want them to lose fat. And if you have fat to lose, that's one of the benefits that you should see from this type of program. Another one is relationship health. Since we talked about this earlier, I think this is a really key concept. I was filling out a functional medicine matrix, and under relationship and community, which is something we pay a lot of attention to at the Institute for Functional Medicine, I was thinking about how relationships are affected by someone becoming metabolically flexible. So when you're metabolically flexible, your blood sugar is kind of where it should be and not like spiking high after you have, I don't know, an acai bowl and then crashing down low right afterwards. That's the kind of situation where you are just a setup for a fight with the people that you love. And so I think another benefit is that you feel more even, your mood is better, you might find that anxiety is improved, and that the quality of your relationships gets better. So those are a few examples. There's a long list in the book, but those are the 3 that I'm thinking about right now.
Well, I can't think of anybody that wouldn't want those 3 things inside of their life. So those are 3 great ones. And if you can relate to that, highly recommended to pick up the book and to dive deeper into it.